Good morning, GM. Welcome to Takeoff Tuesday. Great to see you all here. Tuesday, August 5th. Let's get to work. Here we go. GM. We got a good one for you. And I just saw an update, so let's pull the back office real quick. And while we're getting started, there are some team members you have that aren't here. And they need a friendly reminder. So send them a quick text. Come on over. Takeoff Tuesday. Don't want to miss it. You know, we can tell. You can tell the people who show up consistently. All right. So check it out. First of all, want to give a big congrats to our top 10 for the week. We got Dale Clark, John O'Lyman. Two zoom. Here we go. Umer and Yaz Hawk. Excellent. Great work. There we go. Amanda Carmichael, new to the list. Welcome. Number 4, the Vernal team is growing. Congrats, Mehelani. Eddie from the Tooele team. Number 5, Becky Lambert. Now, is it Nate or is it Becky? Either way, number 6. Congrats to you guys. Richard Stock, number 7. Then we got Magdalena out of the Ohio team, coming in number 8. Tabitha and Nate Wallenfang from the Green Bay, Michigan area. And then can't forget Ryan Dodge from the Texas team. So it's working. People are putting in orders, helping new students get started, seeing a better version of what's possible for them, and making a nice paycheck along the way. So if you want to make a difference, make a sale. All right, quote of the day. Identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions. Right? 80-10 or 90-10 rule, 80-20, 90-10. The majority of your time has got to be on solutions. Sure, identify the problem, but don't keep talking about the problem. Give your power and your energy to solutions. Okay, and there is a new Generally Speaking video out. So go ahead and check that out. And cool, looks like we got everything, all the settings going good. Okay. Okay, and of course we're checking out the timer. Cannot forget 79 days, 44 minutes, 78 days, folks. And then just a reminder, the early bird pricing, it goes up at the end of next month. Okay, it's got about 5 weeks before the price goes up. So get your tickets now. Get your ticket. Get your ticket. Get your ticket. Sell 20 tickets and make 100,000 as well. That's kind of the idea here. All right, let's jump into it. Takeoff Tuesday. Excited to share a little bit about Mr. Bill Predebon and the difference he's made for a lot of people. Over the years, he has done hundreds of deals. Now, something has to happen in your brain to go from flat broke, facing bankruptcy, and living on maxed out credit cards to turning everything around and making a real estate portfolio worth multi-millions all over the country and doing it hundreds of times. And Bill Predebon is a great example of sticking to the plan. Okay, if you think about a career like his, he's seen multiple administrations, multiple presidents, multiple, monetary policies, every kind of goofiness in the market, every cycle. He's seen it all. And when we're going through a very unique time in real estate right now, it hasn't. This combination of events has not happened before, so it's interesting. It's important that you stay in the know, that you stay connected, especially with things like the E3, the Invest Edge. Hopefully, you guys checked that out last night with Patrick Munson going over um, the latest legislation on how that affects us as real estate investors. So go and check that out. Share it with a friend. Tell them, hey, if you're not getting content like this, you should come to one of our events. Let me introduce you to a few friends. Okay. Learning real estate investing on YouTube channels is not the same as having local people, connected people, people that are in it to win it, and have skin in the game the same way as some guy on YouTube. So be careful about spending a lot of time on YouTube with real estate. They're all just scratching the surface of things and don't explain all the risks. And your job as an investor is don't lose money, right? Capital preservation while increasing the portfolio, but you cannot afford to lose money. It'll set you back much further than you understand. So lowering your risk, educating yourself, having people double, triple check your work, that's going to guarantee that you get where you want to go. And Bill's a great example of that. In his first year, he had put under contract almost 100 short sales and was able to get about 15, 20 of them completed that first year. Changed everything. He's never looked back, never taken his foot off the gas. And now he's got deals coast to coast, border to border, north, south, east, west. He makes a difference for a lot of people. He's constantly trying new things and just completely involved. I know a lot of people have been watching his class on From the Ground Up, how to start a project and finish it all the way to selling it for top dollar, making a huge profit. I've seen some of his deals make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 profits. Imagine what that would be like to have a closing like that where you walk away with a gigantic check like that you get to keep. My goodness. So you get results like that because you do it day in and day out. You don't have to do it all day, but you better do it every day. So let's give a big warm welcome to our trainer for the hour, Mr. Bill Predebon. GM. Oh, he's in the new office. Good morning.
Yeah, I just moved it back from the area I was at so I can use. I don't really have an office in this house. This house is only 2,600 square feet, two bed or three bedroom, two bath. So the downstairs we have a poker table, a bar, a fireplace. I've got like an 80-inch TV, two dartboards, shuffleboard, and I was kind of in the middle. And it was kind of like you didn't really want to come down here and enjoy it, so I backed it all the way up underneath the stairs. So
Looks good. Yeah,
I
I
got to
like it.
put something up on the wall over here and make it a little better. I think we're gonna do. We did a pretty extensive remodel on the property, but we also built that deck. The deck was like 50 grand. It's 800 square feet, which I really wanted because we've got the big view of the lake. But we're right on the water, but yeah, I think we're going to do another remodel. We're considering adding some square footage. We're on over an acre, and so the house is set back a little farther than we want, but I got to put in the dock, and the berm is going to be 100 grand at least.
You
um
got to put in a bunch of trees too, right?
no, I'm taking trees out.
No, that's the wrong answer. You need to be.
If I wanted trees, I would have bought in the forest, not on the water. But I am preserving we have a 200 plus year old, I don't even know how old it is, willow tree that has 7 trunks, the size of a freaking small car.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and so I was climbing it this last couple weeks and trimming off the little, I don't know what those things are that, it literally, its roots are in the lake. So the thing is drinking 24/7 and it just flourishes. When we first got it, uh they had, it was abandoned for 2 years, wasn't lived in, and then so it was like 5 grand to have an arborist like do it the right way, just to make the tree back to normal. It was so overtaken, but
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's worth it.
no, there's a lot of trees up in the UP. If you look up the UP, folks, it's a good place to visit. If you ever want a nice it's kind of like Tennessee. Tennessee is one of those places, Mike. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm sure you have, but it is the economy is strong. The air is clean. The water is clean. Um, it is a good state. There's only a few left, and that is one of them. As is the UP. I don't know that there's any blue zones up here. I know that there are in the South, but yeah, I think it's because it's so depressing up here because it's 9 months out of the year of, it's kind of the summers are just so short. I mean, they're just so short. And there's so much effect of weather from Canada and the lake. Lake Superior is so big, right? Um, that it has such a strong effect on the weather that, even the summer sometimes are cooler than you want them to be. You can't really count it. Yeah, the Upers, you got it, Pete. So anyway, but a good place to visit nonetheless. I think that's why there's no blue zones, like I was saying, is a lot of Finnish people, a lot of bad food. They spend most of their time indoors in the winter and they drink a ton. I'm glad for that reason we did leave, or I left. I probably would be one of those, like, it's just amazing the amount of people that die of alcoholism up here. It's crazy.
Whoa.
Yep. Um, can we do a Renatus speak off with Toastmasters to get new leaders in the local? Wow, that's a complicated question. We'll
Let's
have
see
to
here.
we'll have to break that baby down later.
That was really for Mike, what we talked about yesterday. But
Oh,
Can we do a Renatus speak off with Toastmasters to win a trophy at E3?
it's the second week of deer camp. That's funny. If anybody knows that song.
Yeah,
You guys,
dude,
there's some
Pete,
funny stuff.
Pete has always got one ready.
Pete Pete knows his stuff, dude. He's been around the block.
He's cultured.
He's very culture oriented. He knows all the cultures around the country. That's awesome.
Yeah, go to Toastmasters, compete, and win. Yeah, Tom Robinson from our Denver team, he made a lot of Renatus sales, but he went and competed and got up to the state level competition in Toastmasters for regional. Um, and yeah, you find money, you find people like how Dane talks about the buckets, and you find people who want to twiddle their thumbs and just get a better return and don't want to take the classes. That's fine too. But there'll be plenty of people who want to take the class. Now, Bill, you've positioned yourself over the years in different clubs and associations and different things like that to give some do's and some don'ts for the new people about like how to pick a club to get the most out of it for using both marketing and real estate.
Well, I think the number one thing is whatever you choose, everything has to have an intention, right? And so therefore, if we intend to go into any club with the intention of getting a sale, I think it's misguiding and it's the wrong purpose, right? We really want to bring value before we steal and sell them something, even though we're giving them something of benefit, right? So like, I also think that we don't know, it's interesting. People move to a place where they're not familiar, right? A job takes them there, their children take them there, whatever the case is. And then they buy a home in an area they're not familiar with. I think people should go and rent for 6 months to 12 months before they buy, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they can get familiar with where they really fit in. Same thing with a group. You really, we're so ignorant and there's so much, like Michael, for example, does a lot more reading. Like I'm fly by the seat of my pants. Um, I don't really care. I'll bounce off. But that's really an expensive way to live and probably not, it's a chaotic way to live. But having done research, doing a little bit of planning and understanding and having some knowledge of the area or the group right? So when we choose, oh, I like playing guitar, I'm going to go to a guitar group, you know, that may not be the case. You know, if you're good at the guitar, you're the best person in the room or whatever, then it doesn't make sense. You want to learn something new. You want someone to teach you. And then, you know, people learn to respect that a little bit more than someone who has a skill set there, you know, unless you're selling your guitar lessons, right? So we tend to think that we know what we want when we really don't, just because we just don't have the knowledge or the experience. So you know, I would say test out a lot of groups, right? And find one that you really enjoy. And then I love the idea of Renatus and the fact that it teaches us to be leaders, right? And take charge of our own destiny, if you will. So, you know, within even the Renatus group, when that was my main priority, I did not sit back and watch the class and sit back and in the back of the room, I wanted to volunteer, right? And then when I started to do things out in the world, I wanted to share it, right? I wanted people to know. Then I wanted to partner with people. And then I wanted to lead people, right? And I wanted to join people. So like you start to progress. So it's always about wanting to do more, offer more, be more in whatever group you take, you know, and unfortunately it's hard, you know, and if it's not your personality, then Toastmasters is a good thing. You know, a personal business coach is a good thing. You know, we have to learn to be a different person. And if we're not surrounded by it, we're going to do what's comfortable and what we're accustomed to and what we're good at, which could be taking it all in, could be sitting in the back of the room. It could be not being a leader, but again, then you know, we're at the mercy of whoever else is making the decisions. So, you know, I like the idea of groups and you know, sports was always my thing. So I joined a lot of sports teams, but you know, when pets and animal saving became a big thing. So, you know, I would go to a lot of rescues on the weekends, like wasting my time, right? I'm not rescuing every dog. You know, I'm giving them cash and stuff like that. I'm just petting animals, but I'm learning how these rescues even work, right? I'm at Petco and I'm at different farms and stuff like that because I was interested and I was ignorant. So anyway, just you know, and you'd be surprised at what comes of business. You know, nonprofits are very profitable, to be honest.
Uh,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah, I just mentioned that. Or maybe I need to have some more clarity. I know that we had the I can't think of the guy's name. There's a instructor in our group, the 1% guy. He had like last time he had a nationals a little speak off um, at the event, but it was like accumulation of people that wanted to participate in the speak off. But I was thinking in terms of Toastmaster, it'll be a way to talk to those people that want to speak or want to be in position to be a speaker, but actually do it in the local areas and maybe become an ICM, and then it can do these little mini speaking engagements here, and then have a finale at E3 to win a award, so that it'll incubate, if you will, more leaders in the local areas, and that's comfortable with speaking in groups.
We do need more speakers. We do need
Yeah, we
more.
do. You know, I think, you know, there's no right or wrong way to approach it, but you know, this E3 is pretty packed with the number of speakers, right? So it could be a future event. Um, Number one. Number two is there's usually, you know, obviously the home team and Bob and Jay have an agenda and a purpose, right? The idea behind this E3 is, you know, we no longer want to give away things for free. We want to, I shouldn't say that. We want to bring value, but we also want to benefit all of you for being there, right? Participating and having an opportunity to do what you're doing. So instead of isolating it or leaving it only to ICMs, they've allowed the guests. But then if the guests are going to have an experience, we'd have to make it valuable, right? We have to make it inviting, and then we have to make an offer. So having a speak off, it's maybe at nationals would be a better place where, there isn't a awards ceremony and things like that. But it's not a bad idea. I think the other thing you might want to consider is leading by example, right? So whenever someone has success within the Renatus world and family, first of all, it's watched, it's heard about, and then it's looked at and see if there's longevity, and then it's also looked at to see if it's duplicatable, right? Because and then it gets the recognition it deserves because it's not a one-off, it's not short-lived. And so if you do this, I think your idea is not bad. I think, you've got a good concept and something that could be very exciting. It could be very, like you said, it could be very helpful in getting new leaders in communities to start their own Thursday night groups and stuff, especially if they've had Toastmasters, been awarded, had some speak offs, and were recognized by Renatus across the country. But if you want to implement something like that, I would say you need to lead by example, right? You have to start it, kind of share how it works, demonstrate that it works or that it's a value, and then that sort of thing. Go ahead, Laura.
I was wondering if Investor Secret Network is something that could help with that. I don't know, Michael. I don't know much about it. Maybe you know more than I do. But I know that there are some leaders that record videos and then, if Mitch and Maley, I mean, they want more content to come into the Investor Secret Network, and it gives the opportunity to someone, for someone to like record a video and talk, and that could be like a first exposure, and then maybe be able to be in front of the community in a smaller scale and talk about that topic several times, and then maybe start building up that way. Does that make sense?
What you're saying is having Mitch and Maley feature other speakers?
Yeah, well,
Or
don't they have like videos of like Jason and Lily and Mike Villa, like the people that are involved are starting to put videos inside the Investor Secret Network, and that's a nationwide thing, isn't it?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know where.
Well, I think that the Investor Secret Network is either they're empowering people to take action with their classes, right? And so part of that is getting them in front of their camera on Facebook, letting people know what they do and that sort of thing. I think people like Mike Villa that you're starting to see via whatever his last name is, um, those folks have stepped up and they've been put in a position to help them lead the group because it's growing so big, so that and then people like Mike as well and Jeremy and who am I thinking of?
Jared,
Jared.
the wholesaler.
They're taking what I was just talking about. They've taken their skill set, their experiences, they've had success, they've been recognized, and now they're taking on a leadership role. So I do know what you're saying. I think that it's a great place for people to start. So yeah, the more people that, I would love to see more investor networks start up, right?
Hmm.
In different communities, even within inside the community. But there is a catch 22. There are powers in numbers, right? So, you don't want to spawn off necessarily, especially for the wrong reasons. But what I mean by that is, there's a lot of room at the top for people to, and it's geared towards sales and it's geared towards new people making sales, right? They have this new excitement. They see it, they experience it, and then they share it with friends and family. It's a very three-foot rule, word of the mouth type of sale process, which has proven to be the number one, right? Warm market, and the community grows in such a way. So it's great. But again, there's a lot of opportunity for growth individually, and again, it's human nature to follow. it's human nature to, stay within the parameters that are constructed. There's a purpose and a design behind the Investor Secret Network, and it is geared towards one thing, you know, with a few sub things. But anyway, they have done that. Like now,
what one thing?
um, is it?
It's my candy J.
What one thing?
Yeah, geared
Well,
towards one
if I had
thing.
to
What do you
pin
mean?
it down, right, and I had to take a guess, the Mitch and Maley wanted to be on the pack and wanted to make money and make sales. They decided this is how they were going to do it, and they created an opportunity that was available, right? They saw something that was lacking or missing, and they created something, and they used both their skill sets. Mitch is very good at closing and very good in front of the room. Maley was an expert already at social media and all of those types of things. That's her love. She's good in front of the camera. She's charismatic, and they took advantage of that. They worked as a team and they created something. And it's grown. They've grown with it, and they've had help along the way. It's fantastic. But they certainly didn't do it because they're retired and giving back, if that makes sense. Everybody has that opportunity in Renatus to do the same thing. That's my opinion. It's not fact.
Yeah, but I guess Greg, I think his name is Greg, the guy that took over the marketing position from.
Yeah, he's kind
I
of
think.
bad. I would throw him out of your vocabulary, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I was just saying that he had like a speak
not a
off.
good person.
He had a speak off at the last nationals, and
Yeah, it wasn't even approved. Something that he did on his own. Uh, and there was a lot of promises made by Greg at the last nationals that he was at, which I think was 2 years ago, to be honest. And wasn't it? I don't remember. And it wasn't this past E3, right, Michael? If I remember, it was the
no,
Yep.
Yeah,
no,
it's
it
two
wasn't this
ago.
past E3. It was the nationals.
And that's why he wasn't asked back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but it was. I was just saying it in terms of that, like continuing that, because I think it was like 3 minutes. But even if it's outside of the E3 conference, it is a lot of people already speaking. But something that is like an additional, like outside of it or in between the downtime or an hour after the event, something like that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think speak offs are great. I don't know if E3 again is the right place for it. E3 is going to be a sales event. It's going to be a training event. It's going to be a learning event for both marketing and sales. It's encumbering the entire learning well cycle. Um, and it's something that they've been planning for months. So it's not something they're going to throw a wrench in necessarily. And again, I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm not even sure I completely grasp your concept anyway, but I know what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I mean, it
I
needs to
think
be.
he is adding more, he's adding more people to different like rookie panels, if you will. Like he did, we had a professional panel and then they threw in some, just some people who had some random success, and it was kind of cool, to get responses and have people ask questions to people who, were new to the community or newer to their first deal or whatever. So I think they are gonna add. I don't know if they're gonna have more than one panel again this year or what yet. So those panels are pretty cool for everybody, both on the asking side and the answering side. So anyway, as far as I appreciate, yeah, I love the conversation. You guys are more than, and girls are more than welcome to. And I agree with you. I mean, I know if you don't know, but I think they've done a great job with the Investor Network. I mean, I think they said they had over 300 people now down at the university or the college. And ironically, history repeats itself, I guess, because Michael, John, and Nate had that going back in the day when I first joined the Elevate in 2018, 2017 rather. And It was amazing. It was the same atmosphere, a different concept, if you will. But they had, God, Michael, what did you have? 15 breakout rooms or study groups. You had a Thursday night intro. You had a advanced uh,
Yeah,
class.
we had nine breakout rooms, and
Yeah,
three of
it's
them were in Spanish.
just incredible to watch and witness in the same area.
Yep. Yep, we had the Wednesday night cash flow, go to a Thursday epic, a Friday follow up, and a Super Saturday. And if you got a guest to 4 events in 4 days,
You were
chances are they're buying.
Yeah, there was like I think there was 7 out of 10, the top 10 incomers came out of Elevate.
Yep. Yep. So
So
yeah,
yeah, they were a part of that. They were one of the top 10 incomers coming out of that, where Mitch was, and he remembered that he was gone for a while.
yep.
Noticed the grass wasn't always greener. Which brings me to my topic, really. Not that I have to have a topic, but you guys and girls just shout out, Laura, like I love that you raise your, or, you don't even have to raise your hand, but that you wanted to contribute. And Eric, of course, of always, everybody here. You know, uh, I have some entrepreneurial friends up here that I spend time with. One of them owns a really popular couple of bars and restaurants. His dad was owned the Downtowner Lounge and Hotel when we grew up, and he took over and bought it from his dad. And he's had a large rental portfolio, and then sold that all off um, because of the issues with being a landlord. Um, and but anyway, what was I saying? Entrepreneurialism is something that is ever growing, right? It is, I used to I talked to my dad quite a bit. Um, as you know, he was definitely one of my best friends in the world and my hero. I was just very fortunate to have a dad and mom like I have. And I remember multiple conversations about, him just telling me, you know, I couldn't do what you do. It's amazing what you do. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a world famous engineer. You know what I mean? Like, you speak all over the world, and you are awarded, and he belonged to so many societies, and he was just recognized, and just, you know, what he did was, like a Bob Snyder, right? And he's telling me what he couldn't do what I do. Like, I don't know how you do it. That's very difficult. And I'm thinking to myself, you're crazy. Like, this is easy compared. But the entrepreneurial blood, there's a reason we fit and have since we left Europe, right? And started the United States on this freedom. You know, there's a reason that the powers that be in 1912 decided that they were going to make us dependent on money, a banking system, and a medical system, because it is easier for human nature to follow. It is easier for human nature to take the easy street, right? And I don't mean that being an employee is easy, but there is a security that naturally comes when starting a family, right? Especially if you didn't have it growing up. All you do is yearn and long for something of a family, of security, of where you don't have to worry about where your next meal's coming from, or if you go to the hospital, if you're going to be taken care. It makes total sense. And why not, in a free capitalistic society, take advantage of it and profit from people's human nature, right? So, you know, the it is imperative, I think, that you realize how strong you are, that you've spent and invested the amount of money you have in yourself and Renatus, and among other things like Toastmasters and such, right? And that you continue to pursue a dream that literally has very little odds of succeeding, right? Like, being a business owner, it's not a joke when you hear, oh, 97% of businesses fail in the first year. You know, it's not brick and mortars that they're just talking about, right? We're talking about 40 million private businesses, right? LLCs and businesses across the country. Many of them work from home. They're out of their home, they're online, whatever. They still fail, right? They still do absolutely nothing. They get to the 3-year mark and don't have a single dollar in a little poster that goes up behind your desk for your first profit, right? Because it's a hobby. There's a reason for that. And so first of all, it's imperative that we applaud ourselves and recognize the stretch that you're making, right? The sacrifice that you're and the challenge that you're giving yourself, right? Simply applying some knowledge and some book reading to your job would be an easier street, right? Just be a little bit better employee, and you're never going to get fired, right? Until you're too old, like you're 55 and you're in a management position, you're going to get let go. That's just a fact, right? For most, unless you're in a government position of some sort. But you know, you're in corporate America, you're not lasting 45 years in corporate America with a pension anymore. So, but for the most part, while you're raising your children, the job's not a bad place to be. You know, you're a slave to it. You're building someone else's dream, but at least you're not stressed out every day over money. Typically, well, I mean, you are because you're not getting paid as much, but that's typically because our society is teaching us to live past our means, right? And we're not educated on finance and saving and velocity banking and things like that. So we live as a slave to the dollar because we find ourselves as a young, ignorant individual wanting to live like we live in Dubai. So, so anyway, first of all, yeah, Tim Davis, do you have a question or is that, oh no, that's just my stupid little mouse. Um, okay, so, you know, the good news is that we can learn to be a better entrepreneur. We can also take new paths. We can also correct what we don't like. You know, I love the idea that, you know, whatever's gotten us to where we are is not going to get us to where we want to go, whether that's friends, partners, or even investment strategies, right? Do I wish I bought Bitcoin in 2010 instead of a house for $5,000? Probably, right? But I didn't know any better. But I don't think real estate, single family homes are going to put me on the map that I want to be on in the next 10 years, right? It's probably going to be some sort of cyber currency in addition to real estate, right? Um, exactly, Tamara. It is funny. You know, a year ago to this month, Bitcoin was 60 grand. And we thought then it was stupid high. Remember in COVID when it dropped to like $8,000? Like, you guys, what we don't know absolutely freaking kills us. But fortunately, we can learn from the past. You know, we're not all going to be, you know, we're all going to buy IPOs when we need to. We're not all going to buy Walmart in 1982 or Apple in 1990 or whatever it was. I don't know. Or Berkshire Hathaway. Could you imagine if you owned Berkshire in the 70s? Holy crap. Um, what's Berkshire worth right now? 550,000 a share, something like that. Are you going to share?
All right. So sorry, I was talking and I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here is an interesting chart, folks. Take a screenshot of this. This is interesting because it shows you over here the purchase price of the house. Okay. And then over here it shows you the interest rate. And then this is plotting what year the interest rate was and the price of the house versus its payment. Look what's happened in the last 4 years. It's just gone out of control. So you could buy a $500,000 house in 2020 for a $1,700 payment. Now, to get a $500,000 house,
It's 3250.
Yeah, it's doubled. The price, the payment has doubled. Yeah, and then this is where the collapse was, GFC collapse. This was the dot-com recession, 2000.
9/11, 2001.
Yep.
Yep.
Crazy. So that interest rate was 8% in 2000. Brought it all the way down to 3%. Anyway, my point is that the price of the house, some of the things I'm seeing people do is too risky for my approach. Now, other people got different risk appetite. I don't play poker. I don't, play blackjack. I don't do a lot of gambling. I don't do any gambling. But when I see some people who are looking at the price of the house and thinking last year people were selling for houses at this price, not factoring in that the price was, it wasn't the price, it was the payment. It was 2,500 that you were selling in 2022. You were selling 2,500 for 500,000. Now for 500,000 in 2023, it went up to 3,000. 2024, up to 3,250 for the same $500,000 house. So you're not selling the purchase price, you're selling the payment. You need to be thinking about what your buyer's payment is going to be. And you're going to be a lot safer that way, I guess is what I'm saying. America has been trained since since 1912, 1913, to think in payments. Okay. Not an overall price. That's one reason why velocity banking is so neat, because you save so much money, but the payment stays the same. It's people just think in payments. So please pay attention to what your end price is going to be in payment form, not in just purchase price based off of recent sales. That's not enough of a consideration to make it move off the shelf. Okay, rant over. Thank you for listening.
Perfect. No, I love, yeah, it's good to have feedback and demonstrate where our minds go when we think about things. But, I can't remember exactly what I wanted to say.
Oh, Tamara said she's got a question for real
Yeah.
estate, if you're ready for it.
Back to the Future. Oh, when I think of I need a time machine, I think of we have one. It's
Car
data.
data.
Yep. And we can look at it and we can, you can kind of, make decisions now based on history.
Right. Well, someone was asking Warren Buffett how much he reads, and he said if he has like a 8-hour workday, he's reading 5 or 6 hours out of his 8-hour workday. He's reading. And then they asked him what he reads, and he said he reads like the money magazines from the 1960s, because the cycles are always the same, that you'll see the clues in anything if you actually look for them. And but you got to read. You can't just scroll through hype, I guess. All right, Tamara, go ahead.
GM, so I've been making a bunch of offers and doing a bunch of negotiating, and I have a mobile home park that I'm pretty close to. We've been negotiating for exactly a week now, and I'm about to get the offer I want. I wanted a little lower, obviously, but I'm about to get an offer that'll work for my numbers, accepted. And I wanted to just bounce some ideas here on funding, because I have to figure out how to get it funded. So I have it started at 450. I'm going to have it down to about 360, 365. Obviously I could go for a bank, or I could get funding partners. They were not open to seller finance. I tried. They just want cash and they want to be done. So I just wanted to like bounce some ideas out here.
Well, I don't know. What's your strategy? I mean, if your strategy is you have no money and you need owner financing, walk from the deal and then come back to them in 30 days and make the offer again. 350 seems like a lot for a mobile home park, and depending on where it is and what, what you're getting. I mean, if you can run all the numbers and with deposits and rents, if you close in the beginning of the month, right? Then you're going to get all the rents and the deposits, and you could possibly walk with a check. Then you could just borrow money and pay them back immediately when you close and only have the finance debt from a bank. But banks, you got to find a bank that's besides a hard money lender. Typically, you're going to want to pay hard money and cash, close, and then refinance, right? But if you're studying Umair, he's paying cash with partners or he's paying owner financing. So if he gets a deal where no one's owner financing, then he doesn't buy the deal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, oh, I want to go boating, and everybody's got a pontoon boat, and you've got a speedboat. You might not want to boat with all the pontoon boaters. Like, unless you're open to all strategies, and then funding is funding. You start sending text to everybody and offering some sort of return and how they're going to get their money back and how long you're going to have it and what the risk is to get it and how it's going to be secured and when they're going to get paid, how much they're going to get paid, how much return they're going to get, how many monthly payments are they going to get.
One thing that will help that I've found is talking to the local bank, that like the community bank that doesn't have to do the FDIC.
100%.
Guys, these local banks are so much easier. So here's what I did is I told them, how much would you refinance me for in 6 months if it looked like this? And I got
Michael,
my answer.
great point. Those local banks, first of all, everybody's money in that bank is from a local business or a local entrepreneur and a local person, right? And then they keep the money and they put it in their portfolio. And then they have a board who makes decisions on what businesses to invest it into. They don't have FDIC guidelines on most of their money. When they sell other mortgages and stuff off in a little bundle to a bigger bank, that's a different set of funds that they use. It's not the same
They
set
can
of
make,
funds.
yeah, they can
They're
make in-house decisions by
100%.
just
It's
looking
like
at
a
you in
credit
the
union.
eyeballs.
Absolutely. It's like going and sitting down with a VP at a credit union and they're going, "Oh, I know where you live. I know your house. I've seen that. That would be great if you put a deck on that house. Here's 50 grand. HELOC."
But don't they require 2 years of taxes?
No, see, now you're playing the silly game back into the whole. That game is to prevent discrimination, right? So they're simply looking at a file. They're not looking at your last name or your age or anything. They're just looking at a file. But when you go to the local bank, right, Tamara, you go to that city and you sit down with one of the guys in there and you say, I'm going to buy this thing with my own means. Okay. In 6 months, if it looks like this, how much would you refinance me for? If the performance is like this, then take his answer. Then when you go talk to private money lenders, hey, I only need your money for 6 months because I have my long-term lender lined up.
Yeah.
Then getting that capital is so much easier because those people know the end game isn't hope the market does something. It's another banker will take it.
Folks, when do you need tax returns to get a loan?
It's a pop quiz for everybody.
Anybody? Bueller?
Bueller?
Anybody?
When you're buying a personal house.
When you are getting a personal loan, you're 100% correct, Tamara. You do not need tax returns for a business loan. That's an asset-based loan. DSCR loans are business loans. Asset-based loans, DSCR loans are income-based loans, right? Profit income-based loans, right? So if you're going to get a business loan and the business has business taxes and you are going to guarantee, and it's some sort of unsecured business loan, and you want a better interest rate, have your taxes in order, right? Get yourself a business credit score. But in the meantime, you're getting an asset-based loan. You're getting a business-based loan. You've been in business with your LLC for a certain period of time. Therefore, you're fine, right? If you haven't been in business for 2 years, good luck at any bank. But if you have, right, and you're buying an asset that they can secure, take, and steal from you and foreclose on you or repossess on you, like a car loan, right, then you don't need the tax returns. If you have tax returns, both personal and or business tax returns, then what do you get? You're a higher qualified buyer. You get a better interest rate. You get better terms, but it's not necessary. Those are QM mortgages, right? QM qualifying loans. These are non-QM loans that we're going for, right? These are non-qualifying mortgages.
Here's something else to think about, Tamara, going back to this chart with the numbers you put in, right? If at 80% occupancy, it's bringing in 5,900 gross, what percentage of the payment does a banker want? What makes them feel safe? They don't want to lend above 30%,
Yeah.
40%, something like that. Okay, so let's keep it simple.
Well, no,
If-
the NOI has to be 1% or higher typically. You want a one in.
No, I meant an expense ratio.
Oh,
Like if
not a debt service coverage ratio.
right, yeah. Your total income to expense ratio, the bank wants to have 30%, 40%.
40, yeah, it's 42 really.
So let's go with 1/3. We'll say 33%, because if her income is $6,000, 1/3 would be $2,000. So $2,000 at 7% interest, which is what it's at, right? $2,000 at 7% interest puts you at 250, 300 for like super safe zone.
Right. And they're
3,000.
going to look at loan to value or loan to purchase price. So if you're buying it for 350, they're only going to give you 80%. Most of the time, that's where very QM type deal at 80 or 90%. So you're really going to get 65, 70, or 75% loan to purchase. So you know how much they're going to lend you based on an LTV. So you're pretty safe at 70% would be my guess. Some will go up to 75. If you've got really good credit and a bunch of other stuff, they might go up to 80. That's pretty rare.
But that's why they can make in-house decisions at 70%.
Yep.
The dude can just go to his board next week and say, "Hey, I talked to Tamara,
Yep,
new
she's put
investor in town."
30% down. This is a slam dunk. It's got 59 already coming in, blah, 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 blah. So if you're closing in the beginning of the month, after the first of the month, you're going to get all the deposits and all the rents. So you have it that you can use towards your down payment, to be honest. So you can borrow from your deposits. And then you can also, the bank's not going to require you to have cash reserve deposits. They don't care about that. Right. Then you have, because that'll look like a credit at closing. And then you can know determine what it is you need to borrow from people to have your down payment. And then you're going to, like Michael said, you're going to refinance that in 6 months and get into a more traditional loan.
Right. And don't think about refining as dropping rate. You might actually go into a higher rate, but if it's longer, then the payment's lower.
Yeah. Longer term, better terms. You might be able to pull cash out, pay all your people back. You're going to, hopefully, if you improve the NOI on a commercial property like this, then you improve the value of the property. So now you're not buying it at 350, but you've made it worth 450. So they'll give you 350 on 450.
Yep.
Right? So now you're free and clear. You own the thing for nothing.
Yeah. I think when I ran it initially with someone who's got more experience than I in this, I was able to get it. I think I can get up to a significant higher. I pull $150,000 out of it, but after I get the rents to where they need to be and get homes on the 2 spots. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I have to sit down and do it again, run the numbers, and get more clear on some
Look
stuff.
up which banks, or ask Grok, ask some AI, which banks in your town are like considered the local banks, and then just start calling them. You might have to sit on hold while, they're doing something, but I'm telling you, my ability to purchase real estate completely changed when I went to local banker versus mortgage broker. So
Yeah, I've called some of the banks. I'm gonna just I have to recall them.
You know, the good news is, folks, is this is why this is, again, one of the reasons, number 5, in why real estate. This conversation does not take place when you're talking about, a coin collection, rare art,
bonds.
yeah, stocks and bonds. It's not that type of, there isn't the ability to improve the value of the asset simply through NOI, right? Through your sweat equity, you can't improve the value of Bitcoin. You may be able to leverage to some degree to buy a piece of Bitcoin, but it is rare and it is challenging. Right? I'm not going to tell you can't do it. You could borrow money from your aunt and go buy a piece of Bitcoin. But what I'm saying is the real estate may not be, it is a place to hold wealth because of the tax benefits, right? Which are non-existent, right? You can't even deduct the losses yet until they change that, right? In fact, they were going to tax you for your gains, but not deduct the losses. Isn't that crazy? Freaking Dems. Shouldn't say that. We're going to tax the gains that you made hypothetically on something you haven't sold yet. I'm unreal. But
Yeah, it's gonna collapse everybody's portfolios and make everyone poor. And
it's
yeah,
it's just mind-boggling. But here you can place money in real estate. You can take extreme deductions in the first year, right? Depreciation. And then you can actually improve the value of the property or the commercial, right? You can improve the net cash flow, right? Even the CADs, the cash after debt service. And then you can pull all of the money out and own it for free and go do it again, or go buy Bitcoin. In the meantime, you can still own the asset, essentially with no money out of pocket. Right? So, again, another reason why Renatus is so powerful and why we don't teach Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin is a place for long-term wealth. Right? Unless you day trade it or whatever, right? But you buy it today, I would assume that most likely a year from now you will potentially double your money. Right? But nobody has 100 grand. Right?
but you might also get it cut in half.
You could.
All right, it could go down 50% too. So
And if it's not cash flowing, then you got to wait.
then you gotta wait and
All you got to
wait
do is
and
wait.
wait. So yeah,
But it's out of your control. I mean, real estate is in your control. So
yeah, you can put 5% down.
it's even in your control when the market goes to zero. Right?
Yep.
When your houses are worth nothing, not that they'll ever be worth nothing, but when they're worth less than you owe, they feel like they're worth nothing. But if they're, if you bought them correctly and you're not selling them tomorrow and you're keeping them in your portfolio and you possibly are going to transfer them to your family or you're going to sell them in the future when the market goes back up, which it always does. Like, look at the prices in 2007 when we thought no one would ever pay that for a house. They're 40% higher.
Yeah, it's insane.
The house I bought in 2007 was 490 grand. It's worth 850.
Same sticks.
It dropped to 190. It was worth $190,000 in 2013.
Wow. We are living in an interesting time, folks. So, as you are increasing your knowledge and exploding your brain around this whole concept, remember that your friends, your family, your coworkers, your associates, your past acquaintances, they all need this kind of mind opening experience too. Going through the classes, coming to the workshops, the discussions, taking this type of action. And Bill, do you remember getting a surprise check or anything like that, or like you logged in one day and you saw a $10,000 commission check, and what that felt like to see a deposit from making a sale like that?
Um, well, I mean, all the time, right? So what I love is the opportunity, right? It was something that I don't have to, I have to focus on, right? I have to be aware. I have to practice, right? I do log, you want to log into your back office. You want to be aware of all the things, but after those things, it's kind of exciting. I remember being able to know that if need be, I could go to work a little bit and make that type of check, right? So, especially at the time when, I was really building prior to COVID, unfortunately, um, it was exciting to push for a $70,000 a month, right? It was exciting to have a $50,000 a month. It was exciting to, you know, uh, enroll multiple students at one time and see your back office with multiple closings and overrides and that sort of thing. Or, back then it was shared commissions even. I guess, very much like someone becoming five-star today. And so there was, you could see someone getting paid and you are also getting paid. And it's nice. Yep. I mean,
So
it's
put that
still,
on the vision
it's,
board, folks.
it's still nice to see commissions come in that I mean, I have no idea what half my team is doing, but every once in a while, someone sells something or buys something and you're like, oh, cool. I didn't know they were doing anything. And boom, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to help people paint the picture of is folks, Bill's still getting paid off of work he did 5, 6 years ago, building teams that are still out doing stuff. And so, you know, the thing people need is support, not necessarily information. Although, yes, information will change the game. It's also support in applying that information. So 2 years from now, 3, 4, 5 years from now, as your team gets bigger and bigger, um, you can start to experience that too. So be thinking about not just making sales, but how big of a team do you want? Do you want 100 people on your team? You want 500? My organization has put in 6,000 education orders since I started.
Wow.
Scott Rowe's team is over 11,000.
Wow.
So, I think Tamara's over what, 400, something like that, maybe more.
I'd have to see. I don't know what mine is.
So, folks, be thinking bigger term. How many more? 500, she said in the chat. Be
Oh,
thinking
500
about
orders or 500K?
500 students enrolled since you started enrolling students.
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, we'll go take a look.
Um,
But that's
yeah,
something to be thinking about too, like leadership, Toastmasters, speaking ability, helping new folks get started, using the product, selling the product. This whole big vision that Snyder's put together, you're not going to find it anywhere else. And so introducing it to others is doing them such a favor, and we'll pay you big checks to do it. So
yeah, and the important thing too is that, or not the important thing, I guess, but one of the things to consider is, it's really a part-time business, and it's a business that supports everything else we're doing, which is real estate and entrepreneurialism, right? And so, you know, just putting a little bit of time every day into it, having a conversation like Dane talks about once or twice a day, um, logging into your back office once or twice a day, like Michael talks about, studying your class once or twice a day, like I talk about, right? These types of just simple tasks in your business will naturally um, enable you, honestly, to have easier conversations and to have a deeper faith and a deeper belief in the system that you're talking about with other people. And so when someone objects and someone blows you off and someone, when we get all the crap that we deal with when trying to sell Renatus, it doesn't have the same impact. We're not as emotionally attached because we fully know we have something spectacular. We fully know we're lucky. We fully know that we can, turn around to the next person and make a sale and get a commission that's significant, a significant paycheck. Even while being five-starred, it's still a very big check. These types of things, but we got to keep engaged. I mean, it's the only time, I know you're on this call, so obviously you are engaged, but there are just a few, you know, a half a dozen to a dozen steps that we need that are important that literally take, you know, 10 or 15 hours a week to be a part of. And you can have a really kick-ass part-time business that not only brings you in money, but also feeds your entrepreneurial habit and your real estate habit. Those things they're critical in your real estate habit, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you think about the skill development of what you're doing here, and of course, what you can help other people develop if you keep spreading the good word, you're never going to stop buying real estate. This is a lifelong skill, right? You think 30 years from now, you're not going to apply the knowledge you're getting when it's time to buy the next thing? Of course you are. So it's worth it to just get in this habit, get in the habit, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. And it's better to do it every day instead of trying to do it all day. So I think that's a good place to stop, huh?
Yeah, unless somebody else, you know, has thoughts, comments, questions. You know, anybody
I know there's a Super Saturday coming up with Richard and a property tour with Scott Buckholtz this Saturday. So if you can't get to one, get to the other. Even listening to the virtual property tours is important because it's another story that you can share with the guest about a successful student going through the program. And it also reaffirms to you, keep on the work. When you see someone make a 40 profit and $80,000 profit, remind you, get back to work because they're out there. The money is there to be made. So do something this Saturday as well. Bring a friend to one of these events. And Tamara is looking for a money partner. Of course. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Well, it's been a great discussion.
Anybody here watch my class yet?
Yeah, we're looking for some feedback on Bill's class. What went well, what we can do better next time. So yeah, Bill, put your number in the chat and people can text you feedback. And yeah, keep that axe sharp, folks. There it is in the
I've had
chat.
several people contact me with regards to several, like half a dozen, maybe 5, that have had an issue with easements, new construction, like purchasing the lot and what to expect. I got another call I got to bring back today. I don't know what she wants yet. And then yeah, just some different questions about lending. It's been good. Oh, thanks, Doug. Cool.
Awesome. All right, folks, in it to win it. Sharing is caring. Go share this opportunity with some friends, make a difference, and go raise some capital. Tamara, if you want, Ahmed is looking for your phone number. So there you go. Make it happen, Captain. Freddie, yes, Bill's class is in the back office, ready to watch.
Yeah, I think it's under the fix and flip track.
Sweet.
Yep.
Buddy.
Yep.
And congrats to Freddie making a sale recently. I saw that go through. Keep growing the team, folks. It's worth it. All right. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Bill. See ya.